Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Immersion is often hailed as the most efficient and effective way to learn a foreign language. In many ways, it's true. With all the language learning methods out there, nothing else comes close to having to think and interact with your environment in the language you're learning. Unfortunately, though, most language learners wrongly assume that the only way to experience language immersion is to pack up and move to a foreign country. But not everyone can afford to spend a summer abroad just to learn a foreign language. Luckily, there are other ways to immerse yourself. These methods are less obvious, but they are effective. In this video, we'll take a look at 5 steps you can take for the ultimate language immersion experience at home. Number 1. Transform your digital world into your target language. Technology is an indispensable part of modern life. We interact with phones, computers, tablets, and other electronic devices throughout the day. Why not take these interactions and use them to practice your target language? Most devices give you the option of switching the language of the operating system. Switching your phone or laptop interface to your target language won't make you fluent, but it will help you engage with the language in a very practical way multiple times every day. Another way to transform your digital life is to check which sites you use on a daily basis and use them in your target language also. A great example of this is switching your version of Google. Using Google in your target language will allow you to search for things in that language, and you're more likely to get results in that language as well. So, if you're looking for a popular band, a show, or food, something that's usually written in your target language, it will actually be easier to find information about it if you switch your version of Google. Of course, you can also change popular social networks like Facebook or Twitter. You can even go to news sites for your fill of global news. Do you like podcasts? Try listening to a couple popular podcasts in your target language. Number 2. Write out a speech or conversation in your target language. A surefire way to increase your ability in a foreign language is to write out a mock conversation or speech in that language. Pretend you have to give a speech on one of your favorite topics. It could be anything from sports, hobbies, or even your favorite movie genre. Now, take some time to write out your fictitious speech. Inevitably, you will hit some roadblocks. But when you get stuck, research the words or grammar points you don't know. This is a highly effective and practical way to increase your vocabulary, and it'll help you practice thinking in a different language. Writing a long, connected train of thoughts exposes the gaps and weaknesses in your language studying. Once you know what these are, you're free to practice them and use them to continue on with your speech. This is also a great way to learn new words in the context of your entire speech. Context is king when you're learning a language. Learning words in the context of other words and sentences helps you surmise what new words mean. It also helps you get comfortable with how these words are practically used. Not to mention, context helps you to remember and recall new information more easily. Number 3. Practice with native speakers. There are a lot of great learning resources out there for anyone learning a new language. However, nothing quite comes close to practicing the language with a real person. If you live in or around a large metropolitan area, there's a chance that there are some native speakers nearby. Check and see if your area has any local language exchanges or language-speaking groups. You're likely to find a native speaker there. If you can't make a connection locally, you can search online. Just as there are language exchanges in the real world, there are also online ones, most of which are free. Number 4. Connect with other language learners. Native speakers aren't the only people who can aid you on your language learning journey. Practicing with other learners is also helpful. Don't worry if you practice with someone who has a higher or lower level in the language than you. If you're the more advanced learner, you can learn a lot by teaching someone else. As you help someone else understand difficult words or grammatical concepts, you'll find that you start to better understand them yourself. If your learning partner has a higher level, they can be the one to help you overcome the hurdles you encounter as a beginner. After all, what better way to learn than from someone who, as a language learner, has been in your shoes? Number 5. Reward yourself in your target language. At the end of a busy day, we all love a little relaxation and me time. One of the most enjoyable and effective ways to develop your language skills is to kick back and enjoy the language while doing leisure activities. Whether it's listening to music, watching a movie or TV show, reading a book, or even enjoying a good online video binge, Even spending just an extra 30 minutes a day doing something you love in your target language can yield some serious long-term results. If you're a beginner, start with more basic content. You might have to start out listening to simple songs or even watching children's shows. After a while, though, you'll be able to dive into the meatier stuff and more engaging stuff as your proficiency increases. Learning a foreign language doesn't mean you have to spend your days straining over grammar rules or textbooks. Any way that you can take your learning off the page and make it more enjoyable will help you learn faster. Immersion is a powerful way to learn a foreign language, and now more than ever, the immersion experience isn't limited to just world travelers. With a little creativity and the right resources, you can experience the language without ever having to leave your hometown. Many of these resources can be found with our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to immerse yourself in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Tubig po. Water, please. Here's another travel phrase you should know. Tubig po. Water, please. So here po doesn't actually mean please. It's a polite particle. You add it to the sentence to make it sound polite, because you want to be polite when asking for water since it's like free. You need to be polite. Magkano ito? How much is this? Magkano ito? Magkano ito? This means, how much is this? So yeah, definitely travel also means you want to go shopping. So you might want to remember this phrase. How much is this? Magkano ito? So ito actually is this. So it has to be somewhere near you. Gusto ko ng 10 nito. I'd like 10 of these. Okay, so if you want not just one of something, you could try using this one. Gusto ko ng 10 nito. Gusto ko ng 10 nito. This means I'd like 10 of these. 10 means 10. So if you replace 10 with another number, then you could make any sentence you want. For example, you want, 50. 50 is 50. So gusto ko ng 50 nito. Or if you just want 3, you could say, gusto ko ng 3 nito. I don't know what these are. But if it's 10, maybe it's like some kind of souvenir, Pwede niyo ba akong bigyan ng discount? Could you give me a discount? Hey, another travel phrase you should know is, especially in the Philippines and if you want to have some bargain, pwede niyo ba akong bigyan ng discount? Pwede niyo ba akong bigyan ng discount? Could you give me a discount? So, here's a tip when you're trying to bargain for something. You don't just ask this. You should have a price in mind that you would like to offer them back. So, it's more of like a negotiation, not like, oh, can you give me a discount? They'll probably ask you, so how much would you like to buy it for? So, you have to be prepared for that and not just ask, give me a discount. You have to name your price as well. Tumatanggap ba kayo ng credit card? Do you take credit card? Here's another phrase that you might want to know when traveling. Tumatanggap ba kayo ng credit card? Tumatanggap ba kayo ng credit card? Do you take credit card? So yeah, of course, you just have a limited cash that you exchange. Your currency for the local currency. So you might want to just spend the cash in the places that don't accept credit card, or else you might really need it somewhere that doesn't accept anything else but cash and you didn't have it. So yeah, you might want to ask this question a lot.
Odd. 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 The next word is odd. In English, odd. Kapag magbibigay ka raw ng pera sa kasal, dapat Odd ang unang numero para hindi ito mahati. Kapag magbibigay ka raw ng pera sa kasal, dapat odd ang unang numero para hindi ito mahahati. They say that if you were to give money at a wedding, it should be an odd number so that it can't be divided. So it means that you should give odd numbered amount of money so that symbolically, right? So symbolically it means that the couple won't be separated, right? Magkalkula. Magkalkula. To calculate. Magkalkula. In English, to calculate. Kaya mo bang magkalkula ng mabilis? Kaya mo bang magkalkula ng mabilis? Can you calculate quickly? Can you? No, she cannot. Sorry. Dagdagan. Dagdagan. To add. Next word is dagdagan or to add. Pakidagdagan ng 5 pang order ng kanin. Pakidagdagan ng 5 pang order ng kanin. Please add 5 more orders of rice. Wow, rice is life. Okay, I don't judge this person, but still like 5 orders of rice. Please eat whatever you want. Bawasan. Bawasan. To subtract. Bawasan or to subtract. Huwag mong bawasan ng tax ang mga nagpa-part-time job lamang. Huwag mong bawasan ng tax ang mga nagpa-part-time job lamang. Don't subtract the tax for those who are just working part-time. Hatiin. Hatiin. To divide. Hatiin or to divide. Hatiin natin ito sa 8. Hatiin natin ito sa 8. Let's divide this into 8. What else do you divide by 8? Just pizza and cake. Or you probably get like 8 cups of rice. Divide this into 2.
Oo, tama ka. Yes, you're right. Oo, tama ka. Oo, tama ka. This means, yes, you're right. This one, it's actually kind of like you're opening towards disagreement. You think that this is something you use to agree to someone. Well, it is if you don't include the word but. It's like, yes, you're right, but it usually goes like that, right? So, oo, tama ka, pero mali ka. You're wrong. Mali ka. Mali ka. You're wrong. This expression, you don't really just use it on your own. Just say, mali ka. It sounds very childish. You just say you're wrong. So you have to follow it with why you think that person is wrong, or else you act like some kid with a tantrum or some very, very close-minded person. Sa tingin ko, hindi. I don't think so. Sa tingin ko, hindi. Sa tingin ko, hindi. I don't think so. Yeah, this is a much softer way to disagree. Sa tingin ko, hindi. It's it's not like a fact that you're wrong, but in my opinion, you are wrong. And reasoning. Don't forget to reason, or else you won't succeed in your disagreements. Siguro. Maybe. Filipinos actually like using this one. Siguro. Siguro. This means maybe. So yeah, if you don't want to be I don't really agree with you, but I don't really want to disagree with you, you could just say, be in the middle and say, maybe, siguro. Well, it's actually, you could also use this to open up another argument. Siguro, I'd like to do this one more than what you just said. Or, siguro, this is a better idea. Maybe this is a better idea. Totoo yan. That's true. Here's another expression you could use to agree to someone, which is, totoo yan. totoo yan. It means that's true. If it's true, then you agree that what they're saying is correct. And you could say, totoo yan.
Asawa. Asawa. Wife or spouse. Asawa or wife or spouse. Ang aking asawa ay dating sumali sa Miss Universe. Ang aking asawa ay dating sumali sa Miss Universe. My wife was in the Miss Universe pageant. Wow, lucky you. And this is again what we were discussing earlier about the word asawa, which literally means spouse. So if you want to put a gender on asawa, you would say asawang babae for wife or asawang lalaki for husband. So because of the context, then you can tell that the speaker is referring to a female spouse, right? Biyenang babae. Biyenang babae. Mother-in-law. Biyenang babae. Or mother-in-law. Ang aking biyenang babae ay napakabait. Ang aking biyenang babae ay napakabait. My mother-in-law is very kind. Oh, very lucky. You have a very scary father-in-law and a very kind mother-in-law. And we forgot to say something about biyenan, because biyenan again is a gender-neutral word. So biyenan just means in-laws, right? When you want to emphasize that you're referring to the mother-in-law, then you would add again the word for female, which is babae. So you would say biyenang babae. And then for males, you would say biyenang lalaki. Lola. Lola. Grandmother. Lola. Or grandmother. Hindi na ako namumukhaan ng aking lola. Hindi na ako namumukhaan ng aking lola. My grandmother can no longer recognize me. Oh, this is pretty sad. Katuwang. Katuwang. Partner. Katuwang or partner. Ang katuwang sa buhay ang iyong kasama sa hirap at ginhawa. Ang katuwang sa buhay ang iyong kasama sa hirap at ginhawa. Your partner in life is your companion through thick and thin. When you're thin and then when you become thick, that's what it means. Tia. Tia. Aunt. Tia or aunt. Mapagbigay ang aking tiya. Mapagbigay ang aking tiya. My aunt is generous or tita, right? Now, being a tita is kind of like a frame of mind, right? You're lazy, you just want nice things, you just want to drink tea, you just want to relax, be experience the not be not be sweaty. If you're a tita, you're in everyone's business. Aside from all those things that I said. So imagine, you always would have titas that ask you, why aren't you still married, right? There are always those titas. They just have so much time, right? Inaantok ako. Inaantok ako. I'm sleepy. If you're feeling sleepy, you can say, inaantok ako, or I'm sleepy. After lunch, usually that's the time when you feel this, you're really sleepy. Even though you have lots of work, you're feeling sleepy, or sometimes you don't have lots of work, you're feeling sleepy. So, you can say it. It's valid, it's okay. Just don't say it to your boss. I don't think, if your boss asks you, how are you? Oh, I'm sleepy. Oh, that's not really good. Well, probably should go home, not come back anymore. Goodbye. Thank you for your service. That's how it will go, right? Masama ang pakiramdam ko. Masama ang pakiramdam ko. I'm feeling bad. Or if you are not feeling so well, you can say, masama ang pakiramdam ko. Or, I'm feeling bad. So, you can say this if you have a bit of cold, for instance, or your stomach is upset, or what else? Or you have a broken heart, those kinds of things. So if you want to say that you're feeling bad, you say, masama ang pakiramdam ko. Okay ako. Okay ako. I'm okay. But what if you're just fine? What if you're just okay, but you don't want to say I'm fine? or mabuti naman ako, or ayos naman ako. You can also say casually, okay ako, which is very casual. Very simple, okay ako. Okay na okay ako. Okay na okay ako. I'm great. If you want to say that you are really doing great, then you can say, okay na okay ako. You would have to note that in Filipino, when you repeat words, it, what's it called? It's like, it's a superlative version of the adjective, kind of. But it's not. But it's kind of like amps up the impact of the adjective. So it's equivalent to very. So you would say, okay na okay ako, meaning I'm super duper okay, right? Or if you're really, for instance, sleepy, you would say, antok na antok ako, instead of just saying antok ako, right? Salamat sa pagtatanong. Salamat sa pagtatanong. Thank you for asking. And for instance, you were feeling bad, and then this person that asked you, how are you, made you feel happy, then you can say, thank you for asking, or salamat sa pagtatanong. Because of course, you felt happy that someone asked you, especially if you're feeling bad.
Pag-iyak. Pag-iyak. To cry. Our next word is iyak or pag-iyak, meaning to cry. Ang pag-iyak ay mahalaga paminsan-minsan para mailabas ang sama ng loob. Ang pag-iyak ay mahalaga paminsan-minsan para mailabas ang sama ng loob. Crying is sometimes necessary in order to release our feelings. I agree with this. Yeah, don't bottle it up inside. Well, actually, yeah, because it might come out as something worse. So, let it out as tears. Pinanghinaan ng loob. Pinanghinaan ng loob. Discouraged. Pinanghinaan ng loob. Discouraged. Pinanghinaan ako ng loob nang mabalitaan ko ang nangyari sa guro natin. Pinanghinaan ako ng loob nang mabalitaan ko ang nangyari sa guro natin. I was discouraged upon hearing what happened to our teacher. I guess something bad happened to him or her. So, that sucks. Sorry. Sorry, teacher. Nabigo. Nabigo. Disappointed. Our next word is nabigo, meaning disappointed. Okay, so for example, you watched Beauty and the Beast and this wasn't really what you expected. So you might use this sentence. Nabigo ako sa palabas na Beauty and the Beast. Nabigo ako sa palabas na Beauty and the Beast. I was disappointed by the movie Beauty and the Beast. I wouldn't disagree, to be honest. Hindi masaya. Hindi masaya. Unhappy. Next sad word is hindi masaya, meaning unhappy. It literally means unhappy, like not happy. For example, si Claire ay hindi masaya sa pagkatalo sa volleyball match. Si Claire ay hindi masaya sa pagkatalo sa volleyball match. Claire is unhappy about their loss at the volleyball match. I guess if you lose any kind of sports, you're not gonna be happy. Well, although if you think that you have given it your all, then you'd still be like at least proud if you're not happy that you've done it or something. But there's always a next time. Just train harder, I guess. Claire. Tinanggihan. Tinanggihan. Rejected. Our next word is tinanggihan, meaning rejected. I guess, yeah, that's a very sad thing to be rejected. Like this example. Tinanggihan si Troy sa kanyang pag-a-apply ng visa. Tinanggihan si Troy sa kanyang pag-a-apply ng visa. Troy's application for a visa was rejected. This is definitely a sad time for Troy. Well, it's actually very sad if you get to this situation, because like visas have so many requirements, and like if you still didn't get it, it's just like, oh my god, what was I supposed to do?
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Nababalisa. Nababalisa. Upset. Our first word is nababalisa. This means upset. Jerry's upset. So, in Filipino, it will be nababalisa si Jerry. Nababalisa si Jerry. I guess because Tom is always after him. Saktan. Saktan. To hurt. Our next word is saktan, meaning to hurt. I don't know who is Cory and who is Benny, but apparently sinaktan ni Cory si Benny. Sinaktan ni Cory si Benny. Cory hurt Benny. Benny got hurt by Cory. I guess they're not in good relations right now. Kaibigan, meaning friend. Let me say something about this word, because like you have to say it like this: kaibigan. Kaibigan. Because kaibigan means friend. But when you twist it a bit and say it like this, kaibigan. Kaibigan. That's kind of, it's not really a natural way of saying it, but it actually means lover. So like when you tease your friends that like you think might be getting together, you say like, are you sure you're kaibigan or kaibigan? And you know, there's a saying, quality over quantity, so maybe for people who doesn't have much friends, you could use this sentence. Kakaunti lamang ang aking kaibigan. Kakaunti lamang ang aking kaibigan. This means I only have a few friends. So yeah, it's not always about the quantity. Kumusta? How are you? Well, for Spanish people out there, you might recognize this a bit because it comes from the Spanish "Cómo estás?" Because, you know, long time ago, 300 years of Spanish colonizations will make your language have some Spanish things in them. Definitely remember this. And here's one point that you should know, but when Filipino people actually ask you "Kumusta?", it's not just how English-speaking people would say, how are you? And then it's just like a greeting. When Filipino actually ask "Kumusta?", they really want to know how you are. So people really answer back how they are. Another favorite word chosen by fans is kape, coffee. And you know, if you want to order coffee, you want to know how to say it so that you can order it every day. Because some people do not exist without coffee. Well, they are technically not yet alive without coffee in them. So remember this word, kape. For some people, this is not true. This is actually not true for me, but if it is true, you could use this sentence. Hindi ako mahilig sa kape. Hindi ako mahilig sa kape. This means I don't like coffee. Please forgive me. It's just a sample sentence. Like I do like coffee.
Kinakailangan, important.
Next one is kinakailangan, meaning important. Kinakailangan laging maging tapat sa trabaho. We must always be honest at work.
Kumukuti-kutitap, twinkling.
Next one is kumukuti-kutitap, meaning twinkling. So I guess the hard part of this is like the vowels, because like it's mostly u, but there's like I and somewhere. Kumukuti-kutitap. I guess the only way to pronounce this is to remember all the syllables. Kumukuti-kutitap, twinkling. Ang between ay kumukuti-kutitap. The star is twinkling. How would you even sing like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Kumukuti-kutitap, kumukuti-kutitap.
try to say it very fast. Like, kumukuti-kutitap, kumukuti-kutitap, kumukuti-kutitap. Jet ski. I'm not even saying the meaning for this one. Cause you know what it is. Mayayaman lang ang nakakabili ng sariling jet ski. Only those who are rich can buy their own jet ski. Yeah, cause it's expensive and you don't need it for daily life. Okay, next is beach chair. Meaning, beach chair. For example, ayokong lumangoy kaya doon na lang ako sa may beach chair. I don't want to swim so I'll just stay by the beach chairs. Sandcastle, which means sandcastle. Hindi ko na-enjoy ang paggawa ng sandcastle nung ako ay bata pa dahil parati na lang itong inaalon ng tubig. I never enjoyed building sandcastles when I was young since it kept being washed away. Like, I never really built sandcastles when I was young. It's more of like, let's bury someone in the sand. Yeah. And make like mermaid figures of them. Yeah, you get what I mean. Okay, the next one is palamigan, meaning cooler. This is kind of a straightforward. Lamig means cold or cool. And like if you put the prefix pa and the suffix an, it's gonna be like the place where. So it's like the place where cold. But actually, yeah, most people would just call it a coalman. Yeah, it's one of those brand names that became common names. For example, siguraduhin yung dalhin ang palamigan sa beach para masarap ang inumin. Make sure to bring the cooler on the beach so that our drinks would be thirst quenching. Cause like, everywhere it's hot, so we like our drinks cold. A cooler is a must-have.
Biyenang babae. Biyenang babae. Mother-in-law. Biyenang babae. Or, mother-in-law. Ang aking biyenang babae ay napakabait. Ang aking biyenang babae ay napakabait. My mother-in-law is very kind. Oh, very lucky. You have a very scary father-in-law and a very kind mother-in-law. And we forgot to say something about biyenan because biyenan again is a gender-neutral word. So biyenan just means in-laws, right? When you want to emphasize that you're referring to the mother-in-law, then you would add again the word for female, which is babae. So you would say biyenang babae. And then for males, you would say biyenang lalaki. Lola, lola. Grandmother, lola. Or grandmother. Hindi na ako namumukhaan ng aking lola. Hindi na ako namumukhaan ng aking lola. My grandmother can no longer recognize me. Oh, this is pretty sad. Katuwang. Katuwang. Partner. Katuwang or partner. Ang katuwang sa buhay ang iyong kasama sa hirap at ginhawa. Ang katuwang sa buhay ang iyong kasama sa hirap at ginhawa. Your partner in life is your companion through thick and thin. When you're thin and then when you become thick, that's what it means.
Nahihilo, meaning dizzy. Wonder why people like this word, nahihilo. I mean, I myself do not like this word because I do not want to be dizzy. If someone invites you to go to the merry-go-round and you can't really hack it, you could say this sentence. Nahihilo ako sa merry-go-round. Nahihilo ako sa merry-go-round. This means I get dizzy riding the merry-go-round. If you're in the Philippines and you go to our favorite and only amusement park near Manila, you probably know what a flying fiesta is. And usually people are nahihilo in the flying fiesta. Sunblock or sunscreen. Kailangan maglagay ng sunblock dahil hindi maganda sa katawan ang matinding sikat ng araw. It's necessary to put on sunscreen because the strong UV rays is not good for your skin. Yeah, this is very important because the sun could be very damaging to your skin. Bikini, meaning bikini. Bihira lang ang nakabikini sa beach sa Pilipinas. It's quite rare for people to wear bikinis in the beaches in the Philippines. I never really tried to count who has bikinis and who has swimsuits and who has just t-shirts and shorts. Everyone is free.
Lumabas, to go out. Lumabas, or to go out. So, you want to ask permission from your parents before you go out. How do we say it in Filipino? Magpaalam ka muna sa iyong mga magulang bago ka lumabas. Ask permission from your parents before you go out. Someday, kids, you will be parents too. Magtanong, to ask. Magtanong, to ask. So, for example, you have a new office mate and you want to tell your office mate, huwag kang mahiyang magtanong kapag hindi mo alam ang sagot. In English, what you just said means, don't hesitate to ask if you don't know the answer.
The next one is pamaypay, meaning fan. Gusto kong bumili ng pamaypay. I want to buy a fan. It's like, yeah, like if it's hot, you just need a fan. Or a lot of fans. We also use fans for barbecuing, so it's very popular during the summer.
Pumasok, to enter. Pumasok, to enter. For example, you went to a club and you have a friend who looks 18, actually, who looks younger than 18, like a high school student. So you can tell this friend, you are not allowed to enter the club if you're under 18 years old. Or in Filipino, bawal pumasok sa club ang mas bata sa 18 taong gulang. Maramdaman, to feel. So next verb is maramdaman or to feel. For example, you really are irritated with a person and you don't want the person to feel that you're irritated with him or her. So if you want to say in English, I don't want her to feel that I'm frustrated, then you would say in Filipino, ayaw kong maramdaman niya ang inis ko sa kanya. But I think you have to approach her and tell her that you are frustrated. So go ahead and tell her. Maging, to become. Maging, to become. Maging can mean to be or to become. Mahirap maging hindi tapat sa sarili. It's hard not to be honest with yourself.
Baba baba, going down. This first one is actually a sentence and it's just made of one syllable, which is ba. So it goes baba baba, it means going down. Baba means down and bababa means going down, and the ba at the end is like our question marking particle. So baba baba. If you're going down and someone asks this to you, then you just reply with oo, meaning yes, or bababa. So bababa, bababa. It's like the longest conversation in Filipino using one syllable.
Sabihin, to say. So our next verb is sabihin. In English, it can mean either to say or to tell. So for example, we want to say in English, don't tell our secret to anyone. In Filipino, you would say, huwag mong sabihin ang sikreto natin kahit kanino.
Bulaklak, flower. Okay, next is bulaklak, meaning flower. For example, mabango ang bulaklak. The flower smells good. Miserable. 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 Our next one is miserable, meaning miserable. So it's actually spelled the same way as miserable, but again, we say it as how it is spelled out, miserable. So, for example, you had a report and then it didn't go well, so you might want to say this. Magulo ang report namin kanina, kaya miserable ang pakiramdam ko. Magulo ang report namin kanina, kaya miserable ang pakiramdam ko. Our report a while ago was messy. That's why I feel miserable right now. Guess you just have to let time heal you and move on. Because it's just a report.
Kamusta? Kamusta? How are you? So the first word is, how are you? In Filipino, kamusta? So this is very useful when you pass by someone, you want to know how they are. right? Or to just want to ask someone how they are. Porsyento. Porsyento. Percent. Our next word is porsyento. In English, percent. Ilang porsyento ang income tax sa Pilipinas? Ilang porsyento ang income tax sa Pilipinas? How much is the income tax percentage in the Philippines?
Pag-iyak. Pag-iyak. To cry. Our next word is iyak or pag-iyak, meaning to cry. Ang pag-iyak ay mahalaga paminsan-minsan para mailabas ang sama ng loob. Ang pag-iyak ay mahalaga paminsan-minsan para mailabas ang sama ng loob. Crying is sometimes necessary in order to release our feelings. I agree with this. Yeah, don't bottle it up inside. Well, actually, yeah, because it might come out as something worse. So let it out as tears.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
The first tourist attraction is Hagdan-Hagdang Palayan ng Banawe. Banawe Rice Terraces. Ang Hagdan-Hagdang Palayan ng Banawe ay gawa ng mga taga-Ifugao. Ang Hagdan-Hagdang Palayan ng Banawe ay gawa ng mga taga-Ifugao. The Banawe Rice Terraces were made by the Ifugaos. So, Ifugao is part of the Cordillera Autonomous Region, right? And in that area, actually, it's very mountainous. So, it's very hard to plant anything. Not that it's really hard, but then the topography of the place, it's not really easy to like do agriculture. So, what many of the Ifugao people there did was to carve the side of the mountain into these sort of like to these sort of terraces. That's why we call it hagdan, literally like stairs, because they look like stairs. And then on those flat areas, then now you can plant rice. But this is a very nice place. So if you want to experience nature, then please come to the rice terraces. The next tourist destination is Boracay. Boracay. Boracay ang isa sa pinakasikat na beach sa Pilipinas. Boracay ang isa sa pinakasikat na beach sa Pilipinas. Boracay is one of the most popular beaches in the Philippines. Can be a bit crowded, but it still has one of the most beautiful fine sand beaches that I've seen, right? You can choose different places where you want to stay because there are so many tourists. And now actually because they wanted to clean up the beach, also clean up the water, so they're closing it for 6 months. And hopefully like it's going to be better because it's a very good place, very, very popular place. So the next top destination is Palawan. Palawan. Paborito kong isla ang Palawan dahil sa dami ng pwedeng mapuntahan na pang-turista. Paborito kong isla ang Palawan dahil sa dami ng pwedeng mapuntahan na pang-turista. Palawan is my favorite island because of its numerous tourist destinations. So we went to Palawan, I think, in 2015. So we went there in 2015 with some friends. It was actually very easy to do island hopping. Just this popular places to go in Palawan is El Nido. The underground river is a very popular place to visit. Everything is protected in Palawan. It also boasts of lots of flora and fauna. And natural resources, Palawan is very, very rich. So the next place is Surigao del Norte. Surigao del Norte. Kung gusto mong mag-surfing, punta na sa Surigao del Norte. Kung gusto mong mag-surfing, punta na sa Surigao del Norte. If you want to go surfing, then go to Surigao del Norte. I actually haven't been to Surigao del Norte, but I've seen pictures And it's a really good place for surfing. But Surigao del Norte is a bit on the south, but on the side of the Pacific Ocean. So the waves there are much stronger. So it's very good for surfing if you're into such sports. I would want to go there one day. So the next place is Cebu. Cebu. Ang Cebu ay kombinasyon ng kasaysayan, mga isla at lungsod. Ang Cebu ay kombinasyon ng mga isla at mga lungsod na may mahabang kasaysayan. Cebu is a combination of islands and cities with a rich history. If you want a calmer place but still want, say, the city, then you can go to Cebu. And just like take a say 5-hour, 3-hour drive to somewhere, you will end up in a very nice beach. So for instance, when we were there, we went to Bantayan Island, and it's really like one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen. Because it's really quiet, no one is there, just like long stretches of shoreline. The water is very blue, very calm, very, very nice. Candlelit dinner. Candlelit dinner. Candlelit dinner. So our first idea is candlelit dinner. Or in English, candlelit dinner. Uso pa ba ngayon ang date na candlelit dinner? Uso pa ba ngayon ang date na candlelit dinner? Is a candlelit dinner still a popular idea for a date? I don't know, is it?
I think so.
I don't know, we haven't done candlelit dinner. I think, personally for me, I don't like it when I eat in very, like, dimly lit.
Really?
I like eating, like, in dimly lit restaurants, but not, like, super dark, especially when it's just, like, a very small candle.
It doesn't.
No,
need
because
to
of my
be.
eyes, I think. Because I need more light.
But usually candlelit dinner is not just candle.
No, but there are some places like that, right? Like, for instance, you eat out in, like, in open spaces, and then they have this. Because it's really, even at home sometimes, like, Svetlin just wants to turn on, like, one of the lamps in the living room. But then to me, it's like, I cannot see my food. I want to see my food. So I turn on everything. Like, whoa.
Parang barbecue on camping.
Yeah, I don't want to be, I cannot see my food. So, I don't know. But to some people, of course, this is, like, very romantic. And I think it's a very romantic thing because you are prettier, more handsome in the dark. I think that's the purpose of candlelit dinner, right? You have to agree with me. Yes. See? Maglakad ng malayo ng magkasama. Maglakad ng malayo ng magkasama. To go for a long walk. Maglakad ng malayo ng magkasama. To go for a long walk. Masayang maglakad ng malayo ng magkasama. Masayang maglakad ng malayo ng magkasama. It's fun to go on a long walk together. I think this is true because I remember when me and Svetlin are still flirting with each other. We walked for 3 hours. Or I think just because he doesn't have money. He's so poor. Hi, person. So I think but actually this is very good because walking together makes you fit and then makes you more, makes you talk more to each other, right? So then you can have, like, really good conversations while you're talking, and then you see different things, you see different people. You're just, like, very, invigorated while you're walking. But at the same time also because you don't have money, I think. Right? Yes, that means if your partner wants to walk so much, that means it's a very practical partner, right? And also a very poor partner.
Poor but healthy.
Poor and healthy, yeah. So this person will live very long. Prepare to walk for very long. Mag-bowling. Mag-bowling. To go bowling. Mag-bowling or to go bowling. Imbitahin natin ang iba pang kaibigan para mag-bowling. Imbitahin natin ang iba pang kaibigan para mag-bowling. Let's invite some friends to go bowling. Bowling is actually much more fun if you go there with friends, right? Then because you feel, like, very competitive, you just want to beat your friends, beat them to the dust, right?
You could use your bowling ball for that.
Yeah. But I'm never good at bowling. Yeah, so
It's still fun.
yeah, but it's really fun even if you're not good at it. It's not so expensive also, right? So it's a good idea for a date actually, because then you both get fit, you see each other like having fun, and then it's not so expensive. Very good. Pumunta sa aquarium. Pumunta sa aquarium. To go to the aquarium. Pumunta sa aquarium. To go to the aquarium. Maraming taong pumupunta sa aquarium para mag-date. Maraming taong pumupunta sa aquarium para mag-date. There are a lot of people going on a date to the aquarium. Have you been for a date?
Not really a date. I'm still a friend thing.
Yeah, I don't actually, I mean, I I like seeing fish. I like eating fish. But I'm not like the type of person to actively go to an aquarium for a date. I think
Maybe it's also like it's kind of dark and like the water is like.
I am moving and very romantic, and then again in the dark you are both like more handsome and prettier, right? And then, yeah.
Or at least you feel like you're prettier than the
fish.
The fish.
Especially if it's a jellyfish. Or it's a blowfish. No, I think for many people, I think especially if you watch Japanese dramas, right? There's always like some scene in the aquarium, right? So, yeah, so probably I think it's a very, especially if it's a pretty aquarium, but if it's like a not so clean looking aquarium, probably not a good place to bring your date to. So choose your aquariums. Pumunta sa opera. Pumunta sa opera. To go to the opera. Pumunta sa opera. Or, to go to the opera. Mahilig si Maria sa opera songs, kaya pumunta sila ni Ibarra sa opera. Mahilig si Maria sa opera songs, kaya pumunta sila ni Ibarra sa opera. Maria likes opera songs. That's why she and Ibarra went to the opera. But in the Philippines, we don't have so much. There are theaters, of course, right? We can go to the theater, watch a play, right? See
a
musical.
musical.
Musical. But opera, we don't really have opera. But before, I think in the history, you had like Sarsuela, like really old types of opera, Sarsuela or vaudeville, right? Those kinds of older ones. But they're not really being done now, I think. So, yeah, so those old songs. So that's why probably Maria likes opera songs, because it reminds her of her because Maria and Ibarra are Maria Clara actually. And Ibarra are characters from a novel by our national hero Jose Rizal. And yeah, they like opera songs. Magboluntaryo to volunteer. Magboluntaryo to volunteer. Pagkatapos ng sakuna, maraming oportunidad para magboluntaryo. After a disaster, there are a lot of opportunities to volunteer. Protektahan, to protect. Protektahan, which means to protect. Kailangan nating protektahan ang mga nanganganib na uri ng hayop. In English, we need to protect endangered species. Actually, in Filipino, we use lots of English words. So we can say, kailangan nating protektahan ang mga endangered species. Mag-reuse, to reuse. Mag-reuse, to reuse. Ang pag-reuse ay isang paraan ng pagtitipid. In English, reusing is one way of saving. Pangalagaan, to conserve. Pangalagaan, which means to conserve. In Filipino, pangalagaan natin ang mga likas na yaman. Let's conserve natural resources. Magbawas ng basura, to reduce trash. Magbawas ng basura, to reduce trash. Kailangan magbawas ng basura ang mga industriya. Industries need to reduce their wastes. Don't say it as mga. Say it as mga. First word is magbiyahe sa ibang bansa. To travel abroad. The first word is magbiyahe sa ibang bansa, which means to travel abroad. Magbabiyahe ako sa ibang bansa pag may nakita akong murang plane ticket. I'll travel abroad when I find a cheap plane ticket. So my favorite place actually is El Nido. It's really, what do you call this? Like, it's very calm. The water is not cold, it's not warm, it's just perfect. So you will enjoy it. So Start booking now. Mag-relax sa beach. To relax at the beach. Next we have mag-relax sa beach, which means to relax at the beach. Abril ang buwan na pinakamainam na mag-relax sa beach. April is the best month to relax on the beach. So actually for this month, it is now something like 30 to 40 degrees, and April and March are considered the hottest months in the country. Mag-aral ng Filipino gamit ang FilipinoPod101.com. To learn Filipino with FilipinoPod101.com. Mag-aral ng Filipino gamit ang FilipinoPod101.com, which means to learn Filipino with FilipinoPod101.com. So for example, if you really are very eager to learn Filipino this summer, you can say, subukan mong mag-aral ng Filipino gamit ang FilipinoPod101.com at kasama ang mga kaibigan mong Pilipino. Try learning Filipino using FilipinoPod101.com with your Filipino friends. Matutong magluto ng pagkaing Pilipino. To learn to cook Filipino food. Matutong magluto ng pagkaing Pilipino. To learn to cook Filipino food. So if you want to use it in a sentence, in Filipino, you can say, kung gusto mong matutong magluto ng pagkaing Pilipino, magsimula ka sa adobo. In English, you can say, if you want to learn to cook Filipino food, start with adobo because it's the easiest thing to cook. Mag-ihaw, to have a barbecue. Next word is mag-ihaw, which means to have a barbecue. Pinakamainam ang mag-ihaw ng manok sa beach. It is best to have a chicken barbecue on the beach. You can actually barbecue other stuff, like from chicken, pork, to innards. We even have a coagulated blood.
Sandcastle, which means sandcastle. Hindi ko na-enjoy ang paggawa ng sandcastle nung ako ay bata pa dahil parati na lang itong inaalon ng tubig. I never enjoyed building sandcastles when I was young since it kept being washed away. I never really built sandcastles when I was young. It's more of let's bury someone in the sand. Yeah! And make mermaid figures of them. Yeah, you get what I mean. Okay, the next one is palamigan, meaning cooler. This is kind of a straightforward. Lamig means cold or cool. And if you put the prefix pa and the suffix an, it's gonna be the place where. So it's the place where cold. But actually, yeah, most people would just call it a coalman. Yeah, it's one of those brand names that became common names. For example, siguraduhin yung dalhin ang palamigan sa beach para masarap ang inumin. Make sure to bring the cooler on the beach so that our drinks would be thirst-quenching. Cause everywhere it's hot, so we like our drinks cold. A cooler is a must-have. Okay, next is laki ng tubig or tide. Usually in the Philippines, we just call it either high tide or low tide. But anyway, you could use it in the sample sentence. Hindi ako marunong tumingin ng pagpalit ng laki ng tubig. I don't know how to observe the change of tides. Guess if it's low, it's low tide, and if it's high, it's high tide. There's this expression, if you ask Filipinos how many islands are there in the Philippines, they would ask you back, in high tide or low tide? Kulay balat, meaning tan. Bakit ang mga may kulay balat ay gustong magpaputi at ang mga maputi ay gustong magkakulay balat? Why is it that people with tan skin want to have pale skin and people with pale skin want to have tan skin? This is so true. Just be proud of your skin color. Next is snorkeling, meaning snorkeling. May magandang snorkeling spot sa Coron, Palawan. There is a nice snorkeling spot in Coron, Palawan. If you want to go to a beach in the Philippines, please go to Palawan because it's very beautiful. Chinelas or flip-flop. Hindi na kailangan magdala ng sapatos pag pupunta sa beach. Chinelas na lang. There is no need to bring shoes when going to the beach. Just wear flip-flops. Chinelas is part of Filipino culture. It's the footwear you use at home. It's also the footwear that parents might use if you're being naughty.
Backpack. In Filipino, you say backpack, right? So if you want to say backpack, you say backpack. It's a less eh. It's like a less a because of the K actually. It kind of sounds a bit rolled, right? So backpack. So if you want to say backpack, you say backpack. So you want to ask your friend, which is easier to carry, a backpack or a shoulder bag? Then you say in Filipino, ano ang mas madaling buhatin? Backpack o shoulder bag? So the next word is kaklase, or in English, classmate. So for example, you have a very beautiful classmate in your school. So in Filipino, you would say, sikat ang maganda kong kaklase sa buong paaralan. My beautiful classmate is popular in the school. Of course, where would she be popular? She's your classmate, right? If you say my beautiful friend is popular in the school, okay, yeah, but my beautiful classmate is popular in the school. Kaklase is like a general, like I said, it's just a term for classmate, right? We don't use it for any other thing, just classmate. Okay, so the next word is takdang aralin, or homework. In Filipino, you would say, nakikita ko ang halaga ng hindi pagkopya ng takdang aralin. I can see the value of not cheating on my homework. Good for you. Okay, next word is pagsusulit. This is very important, so remember this. It might come up in your exam. Nice. Because pagsusulit means exam. So for example, you want to be really sarcastic to someone who got a high grade in their exam. So you will tell them, ang mataas na grado sa pagsusulit ay hindi nangangahulugan na matalino ka. Or in English, a high grade in the examination doesn't mean you are intelligent. Hello, Supe. I have a friend, we're really friends, but in high school, he was the valedictorian. And I don't really study in high school, but he was the valedictorian. And then now we are always telling him, you only became valedictorian because you are good at memorization. And what's nice about him is that he admits it. That's why we're still friends. The next word is summer vacation. In English, it is summer break. Actually, it's also in English, summer vacation. But when we say summer break in Filipino, we don't use the term summer break, but we use summer vacation more, right? In Filipino, you would say, masaya ang summer vacation. Summer break is fun. Actually, in the Philippines, all year round it's summer. But it's not all year round it's vacation, no. It's just summer. And usually we have summer vacation from end of March, beginning of April, in time with the Holy Week, right? And that's actually the period when we have the hottest temperature. Sometimes around 40, right? 38, 40. Yeah, so it can get really hot. But because we have lots of beaches, there's always some place where you can go. And it's pretty cheap everywhere you go. And so summer break is fun.
When learning a new language, we sometimes have a hard time with things like procrastination, discouragement, or failure. But don't panic. With a good strategy, you'll be able to overcome these difficulties. Are you ready to discover the 4 habits of successful learners? Number 1, optimize your time. When learning a language, it's important to dedicate time to your studies regularly, even if sometimes it's difficult. You're busy with school, work, family, or friends. But you can spread out your learning throughout the day. Study whenever you have small gaps of time in your busy schedule. This can be when you're on the metro, on your lunch break, or while you're exercising. Our podcast learning format fits perfectly into your tight schedule. Number 2, consistency with your chosen method. There are a lot of options when it comes to courses and learning materials. Switching from one method to another can confuse you and disrupt your progress. Focusing on one learning method will make a difference. Our method has been created and optimized by real teachers, so you can stick to it with confidence. Number 3, use your language background. Many languages share some commonalities. You can find words that look or sound similar, or even share the same grammar structure. A little bit of language background will give you an edge while learning. Number 4, study continuously. People are excited when they start learning a new language. The enthusiasm usually lasts until the first roadblock. This can lead to discouragement and procrastination. But don't burn yourself out. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't try to learn it all at once. Break things down into more digestible chunks. Learning step by step might feel slow, but it's an efficient way to learn a language. With patience, motivation, and good resources, you'll master the language. Remember, you can't learn a language overnight, but with motivation and these daily lessons, you'll be on the road to fluency. Give it a try now. Sign up for your account. Just click the link in the description.
In this video, you will listen to each dialogue twice. One version without the conversation's text, and one version with subtitles to read along with. Test your listening comprehension skills with this video. Ready?
Kung ito kaya, mayroon itong maganda at malawak na sala.
Gusto ko ng malawak na sala, pero gusto ko rin ng espasyo para sa parking.
Tignan natin. Kung ito kayang isa,
Oo, maganda yan. Puntahan ba natin to para tignan?
teka lang, hindi ba masyadong maliit ang aparador?
Magandang punto. Mukhang walang perpekto. Teka, ito kayang isa?
Nandito ang lahat ng ating kailangan, hindi ba? At may kalakihan din ang aparador. Puntahan natin ito, tignan.
Okay.
May isang mag-asawa na tumitingin sa ilang mga floor plan. Anong apartment ang kanilang pupuntahan para tignan? Kung ito kaya, mayroon itong maganda at malawak na sala.
Gusto ko ng malawak na sala, pero gusto ko rin ng espasyo para sa parking.
Tignan natin. Kung ito kayang isa,
Oo, maganda yan. Puntahan ba natin to para tignan?
teka lang, hindi ba masyadong maliit ang aparador?
Magandang punto. Mukhang walang perpekto. Teka, ito kayang isa?
Nandito ang lahat ng ating kailangan, hindi ba? At may kalakihan din ang aparador. Puntahan natin ito, tignan.
Okay.
Seaside Hotel, ano pong maipaglilingkod ko?
Hi, gusto ko sanang manatili ng isang gabi sa ika-22 ng Setyembre.
Okay, sige po. Isang gabi sa ika-22 ng Setyembre. Ilang tao po?
2.
Ano po ang gusto niyo, sir? Smoking o non-smoking room?
Non-smoking.
Ang natatanging non-smoking room po na mayroon ng araw na iyon ay may mountain view. Ayos lang po ba yon?
Gusto ko sana ng may seaside view.
Pasensya na po, pero ang mayroon kaming may seaside view ng araw na yon ay smoking room lamang.
Meron bang non-smoking room na may seaside view sa ika-23 ng Setyembre?
Mayroon po.
Okay, sa ika-23 ng Setyembre kung ganon.
May isang lalaking gumagawa ng reserbasyon sa isang hotel. Saang kwarto siya mananatili? Seaside Hotel, ano pong maipaglilingkod ko?
Hi, gusto ko sanang manatili ng isang gabi sa ika-22 ng Setyembre.
Okay, sige po. Isang gabi sa ika-22 ng Setyembre. Ilang tao po?
2.
Ano po ang gusto niyo, sir? Smoking o non-smoking room?
Non-smoking.
Ang natatanging non-smoking room po na mayroon ng araw na iyon ay may mountain view. Ayos lang po ba yon?
Gusto ko sana ng may seaside view.
Pasensya na po, pero ang mayroon kaming may seaside view ng araw na yon ay smoking room lamang.
Meron bang non-smoking room na may seaside view sa ika-23 ng Setyembre?
Mayroon po.
Okay, sa ika-23 ng Setyembre kung ganon. Hi, ano pong maitutulong ko?
Hi, mayroon akong reserbasyon ng 3:00 para kay Richie.
Opo, Miss Richie. Dito po ang daan. Ano pong maipaglilingkod ko ngayong araw na ito?
Gusto ko sanang baguhin ng kaunti ang aking hairstyle.
Okay, anong haba po ang gusto ninyo?
Mga hanggang balikat.
Ayos po. At ang inyong bangs?
Hindi ko babaguhin ang bangs.
Diretso o hati sa gilid?
Medyo sa gilid.
Aling gilid po?
Siguro medyo sa kaliwa mula sa gitna.
Nakuha ko po. Umpisahan natin sa shampoo. Dito po ang daan.
May isang babae na nakikipag-usap sa kanyang hairstylist. Anong pagbabago ang gusto niyang gawin sa kanyang buhok?
Hi, ano pong maitutulong ko?
Hi, mayroon akong reserbasyon ng 3:00 para kay Richie.
Opo, Miss Richie. Dito po ang daan. Ano pong maipaglilingkod ko ngayong araw na ito?
Gusto ko sanang baguhin ng kaunti ang aking hairstyle.
Okay. Anong haba po ang gusto ninyo?
Mga hanggang balikat,
Ayos po. At ang inyong bangs?
hindi ko babaguhin ng bangs.
Diretso o hati sa gilid?
Medyo sa gilid.
Aling gilid po?
Siguro medyo sa kaliwa mula sa gitna.
Nakuha ko po. Umpisahan natin sa shampoo. Dito po ang daan.
Anong tingin mo sa trabahong ito? Ang bayad kada oras ay medyo mataas.
Sige, mukhang mainam ang bayad. Pero kaya mo ba talaga mag-deliver ng dyaryo?
Oo naman, magaling ako magbisikleta. Pero inaalala kong paggising ng maaga.
Ito kayang isa. Hindi mataas ang bayad, pero maari kang magtrabaho ng 2 o 3 araw sa isang linggo at mag-umpisang magtrabaho sa gabi.
Ito. Kahera sa supermarket ha. Sa bagay, mainam magtrabaho matapos ang klase.
Mukhang mainam rin itong sa coffee shop.
Oo nga, gusto ko yung lugar na yan. At nasa daan yan papunta ng eskwelahan.
Hindi na masama, di ba?
Saan kaya ako dapat mag-apply?
Sa pagitan ng ano? Coffee shop at ang pag-deliver ng dyaryo?
Oo, maganda ang bayad sa pag-deliver ng dyaryo. Okay, nakapag-desisyon na ako. Siguro pipilitin ko na lang bumangon ng maaga.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.